Hey guys, welcome to the Midwest Input. This is Zach, and today we have the first ever Behind the Helmet with race car driver of the 34B Modified, Mr. Jeremy Schaufenbuel. Good, how are you doing, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. Glad to be the first.
Yep, you're kind of my test dummy here. You got a real nice car here, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Excited to try it out. First year running a Murray car.
Yep.
They build nice cars the way it looks, and it's a winning car, so hopefully it continues it.
What year is this?
2016.
2016. So, does the year matter? So people want newer cars or old cars? How do you determine that?
I mean, to an extent, an older car will work, but they're wore out. They flex, and
So
you want it to be fresh, and
yeah. So you need to keep upgrading to stay with the competition.
yeah, get the modern updates on them.
So
every year they seem to change something on it.
yep.
It's supposed to be better and
Do a
last
little
year.
geometry, a little more geometry.
Yeah, bigger and better, different mount placements.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. How did you start off, and what year did you start off, and what did you start off in?
I started in a two-man cruiser in 2000. We raced in West Union and Decorah, Fayette County Speedway and Upper Iowa Speedway. Only did that for one season. Then went to a hobby stock after that. I raced hobby stock for three different cars.
3 different cars?
Yeah.
3 different years? 3 different cars?
I think I raced hobby stock up till 2006.
Yeah.
From 2001.
What did you like about the hobby stocks?
Hobby stock is a good class to learn in, just get a feel for out on the track and what you're doing, but you don't feel nothing like a B-mod though.
Yeah.
I should have just started right in the modified.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything about the hobby stocks that you take with you? Wins, car. I know you rolled your car a couple of times. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, we've 2002 we rolled, snapped the right rear axle, going into turn 3 at Cresco, rolled 7.5 times, and then got it back together, fixed up, went back to Cresco the next week, got spun out T-bone and rolled a half time, and
Jesus.
brought her back the next week again.
Yeah, that's what hobby stocks are good for, is just beating and banging on.
Yep, got the hard luck award that season.
So after your hobby stock career, you got into B-Mod. You want to talk about how you got started off in that class and whatever?
My dad raced modified, and he didn't want me to buy a hobby stock at all. He wanted me to just get a modified right away because it's two completely different driving styles. And 2006, Larry Schmidt was selling his cheap, so I bought his, $1,000 on 1999 Adams chassis, and
Oh yeah.
good learner car, but didn't go nowhere.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but me and Jay, we're stepbrothers. We grew up together, watched a lot of racing together. When did you know that you wanted to start racing? Was it as a kid?
Oh, it was as a kid because I watched Dad do it from as long as I can remember. We were going 2-3 nights a week. He raced at least 3 nights a week. Friday West Union, Saturday Decorah, and Sunday in Cresco.
So you have 8 feature wins. Is there any particular place that you've won that stands out the most for you?
I've won the most at Fayette County Speedway. I got 7 there and 1 at Upper Iowa Speedway.
You go to quite a bit of the specials at the end of the years, don't you?
Yeah, usually we do.
Yeah. What's the best major special that you've ever been in, or the most memorable one where you thought you did the best in?
I guess they don't do it anymore, but they had the Firecracker 360 B-Mod special up at Britt. We ended up top 10 over there.
Are they even running? Oh, they're running.
Yeah, they run IMCA there. After a couple of years, they kicked the USRA cars out of there and went IMCA only.
Mason City's still going on, aren't they?
Yep, Mason City's USRA sanction now.
Yeah. They said that was kind of not going very good here, but
Well, I think they got way better car count than they did with the IMCA country.
oh yeah.
And USRA's got a pretty good following around Northeast Iowa.
So, what usually happens during an intermission on a weekly race?
Intermission, we usually top off the fuel of the car, put a fresh set of tires on the rear, depending on the track, do a bar adjustment or hang a chunk of weight.
What do you, so you go in, you start the night off, you do hot laps. I know that you usually don't, but most people usually do. But you got your kind of car set up to the way you want it right away, and you don't really want to mess with a whole lot of stuff for hot laps. So after the heat race, how do you adjust the car, and for what reason?
Usually we'll look at the track, and if it's slicking off, we'll take some stagger out of the rear. That'll tighten us up in the middle of the corner. And we'll put a space around the left rear that'll tighten us up more. And then if it's really slick, we'll move the right rear bar down a hole, and that'll tighten our entry in so we can drive it in harder.
Jay, you're giving all your secrets away. You okay with that?
Yep. Pretty basic.
Pretty basic stuff.
You know, what I do on my car won't work for somebody else. I drive a lot different than anybody else.
Well, let's talk about that. There's so many different driving styles. People think it's all the same out there, but there's so many different types of drivers and how you react to the car. So there's like a real sweet spot in there for when a driver gets comfortable in the car and when the car is working really good. How does your driving style match up with the car you try to set it up for?
I like my car tighter so I can drive it in harder, get deeper in the corner. Some people like loose cars so they can just roll it in and ease on the gas. I'd rather just drive it in deep and get right back on the gas right away.
You like a lot of bite in your car?
Yeah, I like a lot of bite.
So for the people that don't know what bite is, can you explain bite?
Bite is the traction putting down on the left rear of the tire, keeping it going straight other than turning sideways.
And what's the reason for bite? What's the biggest reason to have a bite in the car? Is it coming out of the corner, or is it turn the car, or it's
pretty much to get the grip down to the track without going sideways.
How important is the carburetor on the car?
Carburetor is pretty important. So that's the response of your engine. You got a cheap carburetor, it's not going to put out as much power as a good carburetor.
What's your sister do for you?
Sister's market pretty much paid for the wrap on the car and bought 8 shocks for the car. And then during the season they do various things too.
They help you out almost every season here?
Oh yeah. All my sponsors are very reliable.
Yeah, about the same sponsors every year.
Yeah.
Almost.
Pretty much. There are a couple add season to season.
Yeah, some go, some stay.
Yeah, most of them stay.
Who's the sponsor that's probably helped you out the longest, the most? If you want to, you don't have to give like a major shout out to, but if you want to, you want to give a shout out to the one that's been the longest for you?
I'd say Todd Service and Repair. He's the one that got me into racing. Started in his shop.
So it wasn't just your dad that raced. We both have a bunch of families on both sides that race. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, your dad raced consistently as long as I can remember too. And then we got Dad's uncle Ronnie raced forever. He was even a modified at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of like one big racing family.
Yeah, then his son Brian raced too. And my other uncles, Mike Crooks and Rich Crook, both raced.
Yep. Not much to do in Iowa other than play around in the dirt.
Yep, dirt track racing.
So let's get into more of the week-to-week operation here. So what's it like in the middle of the racing season during the week, in between races? What do you have to do to make sure the car's up and going? Is there a set schedule? Do you have people helping you during the week to get it rolling?
Yeah, we have pretty much a set schedule when the car rolls in, what we're going to do on it as far as maintenance and fixing whatever's broken. Tire prep, we got Ryan Crooks doing that. Usually does a good job. I mean, you got to ride them and make sure they're all done 100%, but...
Yeah. Getting on the tires, how important are tires to a race car?
Tires are the most important thing on a race car because without the tires, you aren't going anywhere.
So about how long do you spend on the tires a week? Prepping, doing whatever?
I'd say he probably spends at least an hour, hour and a half per tire, and he probably preps 4 to 8 tires a week.
And you change them a lot out at the track, right?
Yeah, we run one set for the heat race, and then we put a fresh set on during intermission for the feature.
Outside of tires, what's the next step during the weekly prep for the car? What else do you set the car up?
Yeah, we'll check ride heights, put it on the scales, tighten bolts, check all the fluids, check the bar angles, just make sure nothing's changed during the week.
So do you make a lot of adjustments during the week, or is it all just kind of the same during the week?
We just note what worked the week before and then keep it the same, and then just adjust for the track we get that next week. And the tracks always change during the season. They tend to get shittier farther you get in.
Yeah.
Lose bite and turn slick.
So other than the tires, what's the second most important thing on the race car?
Probably the drivetrain. You gotta have an engine that's gonna hold up and a good transmission that's gonna put the power to the back tires.
Yeah, horses that are gonna take you to where you want to go.
Yep, without losing too much in between. Tend to go from the stock tranny to the aftermarket tranny, so there's less rotating weight between the engine and the tranny. No clutch required.
When you're at the racetrack, you sit down and staging. What are you thinking about?
I'm just trying to relax. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna get to the front.
Do you get I know a lot of guys kind of get a little bit like of a gut ache or a really big adrenaline rush. Do you feel any of that sitting in the car?
I'm stretching out and just trying to keep the cramps out of my feet.
Yeah. So after staging, you roll up onto the racetrack. What's the first thing you look for, and what are you doing as you make your 3 parade laps?
When I pull up, I'm just looking to see where the grip line is. You know, there's usually right in the middle of the track, it's all slippery, and so that's where everybody's barreling it in because it's the easiest place to throw it. Usually it's right along the bottom or way up top is where the grip is. So you kind of throw your car around a little bit, see where it's going to bite at, and green flag comes, you're trying to get to the spot before the guy in front of you and jump when the leader goes.
During a race, do you have a lot of time to think, or is it all reaction?
It's reaction, because the guy in front of you is going to leave just a split gap. If you can get in that gap before he closes it.
All split-second decisions right now?
It's right now. Usually you get the gap, they're turning down into you anyways.
Yeah.
So they think they already have the line.
Yeah. A lot of people think that you actually have time to think in the car, but if you take the time to think in the car, you're more likely to wreck. Because if you take the time to think instead of react, you're way more likely to mess somebody else up that's going right now.
When you're bumper to bumper, it's split second. That guy's either going top or bottom. If you want to pass, you got to go to opposite.
Yep. So this is kind of getting into where you'll hear people in the grandstands, or even sometimes down in the pits, even people that know what it's like to be in a race car. Something will happen on the racetrack, and race drivers know that it's a split-second decision. It's all adrenaline. We understand that it's a lot of testosterone out there on the racetrack, but then you get to the people where they're like, oh, he's a dirty driver, he's a dirty driver, he's a dirty driver. What do you say to people when that happens?
It's split second. If I'm not bumping and banging you, it's clean. If I beat you to the spot and you turn down into me, you're the dirty driver.
Yeah.
Rubbin's racing.
Yep, Rubbin's racing. If you consider me to be a dirty driver because I can beat you to the spot in the track before you get there, better pack it up.
So a lot of things that people don't realize is when something happens, that doesn't always necessarily means that it's like, ooh, I did this on purpose. Sometimes the car is out of whack and you're in there trying to muscle it. And can you elaborate a little bit on that? When your car's out of whack, you hit somebody and it's like, oh, sorry dude, I didn't really mean to do that. Car's just out of whack.
Yeah, if your car doesn't come in till the end of the race, it's usually tight at the beginning, so don't want to turn when you're in the corner. So you gotta adjust for it, either give it more gas or jack your brake and turn the back end before you get to the corner.
Yeah, sometimes driving harder is safer.
Yep, and if you're babying it, the car's not gonna turn for you.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about the money side of everything. So people that aren't in it, or that are just fans that are there to watch want to know how much money, and do you ever take a break? Is there an off season when it comes to racing? And then how much money out of your pocket does it take to race?
Out of my pocket, it's pretty much every spare dollar I got goes into the car. I mean, I look forward to tax time because that's rebuild time, new body, new suspension, carburetor. Whatever I get back from taxes usually goes into the car. Good thing my wife is willing to let that happen too, because without her, that money wouldn't go into it either.
Family racing?
Yep. Family's there every night.
And then the off season. There really is no off season when it comes to racing. After the last checker flag drops, what happens? What do you do?
Usually I'll bring the car in, strip it down, take the body off, take the suspension off, go through everything, and then usually re-grease it and put new on and start again.
So, talking a little bit more into the money side of it, I see that you have a crate motor in this year. What's the difference money-wise for having a crate versus an open motor, and the power?
Crate longevity is supposed to last longer and be more efficient. Only have to change bell springs. Where the open motor, you got to get freshened all the time and rebuilt at least once a season.
Yeah, and it's ultimately cheaper in the long run, because you and I both know there are some big dollar, big horse motors out there. I can name a couple. I'm not gonna, but I could name a couple that dumped a lot of money into their engine just to get those couple more horses to stay up in front. Does that concern you with the crate motor?
It did before I ran one, but after running Dad's last year, I mean, the crate's got plenty of power. It's got a lot more torque than the open motor coming off the corner with the 4-barrel. And the only downside of it's 1,000 less RPMs.
You want to give a shout out to anybody that helps you, your sponsors, people behind the scenes?
Ryan Crooks does all my tire work. Sponsors, we got Todd Service and Repair, Brian Tank Masonry, Lucky 7 Design Company, B56, Zachary Creener Photography, Ryan Crooks, Megan Schaufenbuel, Sisters Market, Jackson and Kurt Carey, Silver Creek Hardwood Floors, Swiggy's Tap, R.A. Crooks Customs, Andrew Howe Photography, Shelley Shape and Curl, Rebel of the Road Diesel Repair. Yeah, they all help out some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
They're all reliable season to season.
So what's your expectations for this upcoming 2018 season? Where are you going to race? Where can people find you at? Are you going for points again? Obviously, you're out there trying to win every night, so.
Yeah, I'll be at Fayette County Speedway every Friday night, trying to go for points there. Probably hit Upper Iowa Speedway, their specials, probably the Ironmans, fair races, and then probably Fountain City for the BMOD Nationals.
Yep, full season ahead of you.
Yep.
So after the races, are you going to have t-shirts made for everybody?
Yeah, we still got some t-shirts available. We probably won't make new ones till next year. Kind of stayed close to the same design, so the t-shirts will still be good another season, and we'll go with a new design next year.
Overall, on your career through two-man cruiser and hobby stock and your B-mod career, what are your stats? Your feature wins, your points, your national points?
Biggest one's probably 50 plus heat wins through all the years, but 8 feature wins. Wish there was a lot more than that, but they don't hand them out.
No.
They're tough to get.
Yep.
I've gotten 1 second place in track points and 4 third places in track points. I've been in top 50 in the nation once when I was racing 2 nights a week, but I don't race enough with the kids getting older to compete in national points.
Do you follow national points at all, or do you go more towards the track points?
I just aim more towards the track points because we're going to be at Fayette County Speedway every Friday night, and that's where we focus our time at.
So why don't you tell the people out there what's it cost if you don't wreck anything, if your car's all good from the week before, what's it cost to go racing 2 nights a week?
2 nights a week is probably about $500 to $600 just for truck fuel, race car fuel, admission into the pits, food while you're there, pop, ice, beer for people that help you out.
Yep. And then what do you get paid at the end of the nights if you win?
If you win, you get $250.
So that is telling you right there that these guys are not getting paid enough. This is a hobby, an obsession really, because for you to be doing this year-round, like you said, spending all your money on it, you really got to love the sport.
You got to love it, and you're out there to put on a show for the fans. All the people that support you, family, friends, fans in the stands that cheer you on every week, they're who you really do it for.
So there it is, folks. Mr. Jeremy Schaufenbuel, B-Mod 34. Fayette County, every week. Go there to watch him. Thanks.